Welcome back. Today we are going to move our cards in the battle grid using the limit of the movement. So it means that if the value of the movement of a card is 2, for example, then we move one cell and then we can move again another cell. If the value is 4, we can move 4 cells and so on. So we can complete the movement before passing the turn and not just make it one step and then pass the turn automatically. So this is what we're going to do today. Also, there is a little bit of adjustment we need to do for the code because of course it's a work in progress, this game, so there's always something to be fixed. In this case, I'm going to show you what's the issue to be fixed. Now, if we have lucky enough to get a robot straight away, I can show you what the bug is. Okay, we got one robot here. We just put here. So I put this robot on the battleground, and then automatically the turn is passed. Then the other player put the card down. Then with this player select the robot. I can make a 2-3 movement, of course, and not yet, but this will be the idea. But if I move once, and then the turn now is passed to the other player, if I keep clicking around the robot, I can still move the robot indefinitely. So we need to fix this thing first in order then to go with the next step, that is limit the movement up to 3 cells. Okay, let's go on our code. So in the event sheet board, I have here line 35. Basically, it's when with the mouse we click on the time map, and then we do all the checking to set the position of the card and move it around. This point here where we search if the card number is matching the selector, then we move the card. So the issue is that once that we move the first time the card, the selector is still around there as still a value related to the position where we just click. So we need to make in a way that the selector goes out of the screen with the coordinated that it uses on the instance variable. So basically at this point here we're going to do selector set value tile X to -100, and we do the same with tile Y. Okay, this I will show you why in 1 second when I do the preview. Now we're going to select the selector, and here you can see the instance variable. I hope you can see it quite well. It's at the moment tile underscore X and tile underscore Y are both -1. Lucky I got a robot straight away. So when I put this one here and I click, as you can see, tile X underscore X and Y is still -1, no problem at the moment. When I pass the turn, and the target, but as you can see, the target is still around. Where do I click? When I pass the turn, and then I go back to my player, tile underscore X and tile underscore Y is 0 and 4. Then when I click, now I go them -100, -100. So therefore they go outside the screen. But before I do this, if I go back to the code and I disable this, then I do again, and then hopefully I get a robot. Okay, here go to selector, just put another row. Lucky today. So now this coordinate in this case is 7 and 5. When I move, now it's 6 and 5. So that get the coordinates where I'm moving as we put in the code the last time. And then when I keep clicking, it just keeping the coordinate where I'm clicking with the mouse. Therefore, that's why I'm keeping going everywhere. But when I put to minus 100, minus 100, after moving the first time, so it means that it's pointing to something outside here. There is no grid, and there's not any cell in our any tile with this coordinated here, because this smaller one is 0, 0. So therefore, nothing is going to happen. So that's why a little bit quickly. I hope it's clear enough. So we go back to our program and we enable this one here. Now once again, try and see. Now the problem is that there is another issue as well, but we are not going to fix it today because it will take a little bit of time to adjust. So what's basically when I have now this card moving properly, I will show you. See, it doesn't do any more the trouble. But what's happening is that now is the turn of this player, and then this player does the action. This player has more card to go. Then this player move the card, but still can drag the card. So I shouldn't be able to drag the card. See, as it's happening a little bit of mess. So we are going to fix this probably in the next video, because otherwise this video becomes too long. But keep in mind that I know that there is this bug and we're going to handle this soon. It's just as I said before, there's a lot of stuff to do, and of course the more you are going to make the code complicated, the more you need to check many things. So in this short time of the video, it's a little bit complicated to do all at once. Okay, let's go back to our code. Okay, at this point, the first thing we want to do is just to create a function to hide the selector. So we go at the end of the event sheet board, add an event, function, on function, and I call it hide selector. Then I go here. If you remember, when you pass the turn on the function on pass turn, line 27, if you follow step by step this tutorial, we have a selector set position to minus 200, minus 200. I'm going to copy this and paste inside here. Now I'm going to move all the new coordinates I just created on this line 35. For the moment, I'm going to duplicate them and disable this, just to let you understand what are the passage we're going to do. So we're going to put this inside here. So we create a function to do all the things at once, so everywhere. So we make sure that this problem is not triggered again in the future while we do something else. And then I call this function here everywhere where I set the position of the selector. Basically, I'm going to disable this one where I found it, and I call the function. So it will be function, call function, hide selector. Now this one I'm going to cut, just was to show you. And I'm going to search for minus 200, because it's the only one value that we have here. So as you can see here, I got 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to disable all of them, and I add this hide selector instead. Duplicate. So now when I go to call the function, not only I set the position of the selector out of the screen, but also I change the values of distance variables tile underscore x and tile underscore y all into one go. So I don't have any more this issue anymore, hopefully in the future. Okay, and then I just remove this one. Okay, at this stage we are going to create a new fake stats for all our cards that don't have a robot image. This is because we need to have something for testing purpose. I don't have all the cards ready. We haven't decided all the values of the card, what the card can do or not, in addition to be a robot. But we need to test quickly. I can't just spend time hoping to get a robot. So this is something useful for you as well to learn, because for testing purpose you can do this kind of trick. And now we're going to fill, we're going to duplicate this line basically. I'm going to fill the array with all the slot left using fake values. So first thing to do, by the way, we found, thanks to Christian, this is one of my supporters on Patreon, we decided the name of this card number 02 is Stranger, I don't know the pronunciation, you decide, mix between strange and gear, so probably Stranger. Anyway, so this is the name of this card. And then for our database with the cards, we're going to call this, comment this in test robot creation loop, and we create a loop here, system for, we start from 3 for this loop because we had 0 values of card 0, 1 and 2 already defined, so we don't need to override them. And we finish them with total cards, that I remember is total cards is 24, the maximum card we can have, but -1 because as usual array goes from 0 to 23, 1 point less, because we use a 0. So we're going to loop all the array in this way, and rather than using the value 2 here, because we copied from the card number 02, we're going to use a loop index. In this way, while this does the loop, it's just going to use the value of the whatever is the loop value, loop index. So first loop will be 3, then 4, and so on. I'm just going to copy this first everywhere to avoid to forget it, and after we go to handle the other values. Just bear with me a few seconds. Okay, for the name we just put at the moment question mark, secret robot, type robot, movement, let's say 2, 8.1. We can use this stat again for other tests later, so it's okay to give all the values, because we might do other tests in the next videos for fighting. So I think it's another interesting thing to have a look to. Okay, so this part here is done. Let's see next step, and we go back to our event sheet board. Actually save first, just in case. So going back again in our block we just handled before, where we click with the mouse on the tile map, what we have to do is just to limit the card movement, and to do that we need to reduce the value of the residual movement for the card, movement left. So we need first of all to do this action before changing the position of the card. So basically we need to know first if it's possible to move again the card, then we move the card. So all this has to be happening here. So to do this I need to bring this block, this code here, sorry, this check up here, and I disable this as usual to let understand what we have done. And I'm going to add another condition as well. So this is help us to understand we're going to act on the card we select to work with. And the other condition to add is card compare instance variable card movement, where is movement left, if movement left is greater than 0. So that means that if the card has a value of movement left at least 1, then we can move again. Otherwise it means we reach the limit, and then for the turn we can do any movement anymore with this card. So this is why we do this. And then we have an action occurs after moving all this selector and everything, but before moving the card physically, we're going to add card subtract from movement left 1. So we know that if we can move before moving physically the card, we're going to reduce by 1 the movement. So this is not going to happen again in the turn. Now going back up, when with the mouse we click on the card, on line 30 where we say if the animation front is plain, we call the function show info to show the information on the card. So we want to copy this one and we put it here, where we just remove the set tile underscore x and y. So this will help us to see actually on the side of the screen the updated values of the card that is passing, for example, from 2 to 1 for the moving left. Let's save and try. Okay. Now I can put down a card. As you can see, now we get the information as a generic robot, card number 15. Then once again here, same thing. Now when I have this card here and I click, this value is 2 out of 2 movement, now become 1 out of 2. Still I can move more than once, but this is just step by step, we're going to get in there. But just to show that now the value is updated. So let's go back on our code. Okay, so we go here line 37 where we have the else. We make a sub event and basically we copy this condition here. If card movement underscore left is higher than 0, and then we make an else to this as well. Now this one we drag it inside the new else. I just duplicate as usual to let you keep track of what we're doing. And then we add here in line 35, if we still following my lines, selector set position to another object and we say card. The selector, after making sure that the card can move and so on, then follows the card, so it's hovering on top of the card, so we know that it's still acting with the card here. Another thing we have to do is we need to create an instance variable for selector. Wrong way. And then we call it card underscore number, and we give initial values of 1 minus 1, and then we put a comment card that is currently performing an action. So we know that we use these values, this value here with this instance variable, to understand which card is doing an action that is not only related to movement, but in the future can be also related for shooting or attacking melee and so on. Therefore, if you have, for example, I don't know if you're going to do in this game, but different attacks you can perform it during a game. You keep track, and you know that you're not passing the turn straight away because the card can still do something else. So let's go on. And basically -1 is because there is no card that has value -1, so it means in that moment nothing has been selected. If it's something else that is not -1, it means one of the cards. So we go here on the line 38. So if we still have movement left after move the first time, let's say we're moving, and say the values is 2 or more, yes, we still have some movement left, and therefore we need to do a selector, set value of this new instance variable we created, card underscore number, equals to card dot card underscore number. So now we say, okay, this card still can move. Keep track of which card is acting in this moment, because it might keep moving again. Now, where we have the function to pass the turn, yeah. By the way, that's why here I disable these two set tile x and set tile underscore y, because at the end of all this instruction we pass the turn, and therefore will be redundant, because the same thing I have here on pass turn, as you can see, I have a hide selector. They are both give me set position to -200, -200, and set tile x underscore y, -100, -100, as you can see here, 1, 2, and 3. So that's why I didn't put hide selector here. So this was just a little side note to make it a little bit clear. Now get lost what I was doing. Okay, so in where we're going to pass the turn, we add another action, and there is selector, set value of card underscore number equals to -1. This because when we pass the turn, it means that we are no longer acting with the card we just selected before, and therefore we must make sure that the selector doesn't act anymore with any card. So therefore we put -1. So -1, as we said before, is not related to any card. Now let's go back down. Sorry, a little bit back and forward, but otherwise we forget some step. And then here, where actually we have this block, that will be look natural to move this in on top here, but we are not going to do it because we need this block here to add another condition. First of all, we make it OR block. Then the first condition we add is if selector card compare instance variable of card underscore number is equal to -1. Then we duplicate this, and then we put, rather than -1, we say card underscore card number. Okay, now just explaining what I'm doing here. So after we move the card, then we go to check the next condition. The next condition say if the card is a new card, means no one has been selected yet, so the value is -1. And then do this action, show put the card in that position, and then show the information on the side, and then put the selector on top of the card. And also this, remember, do all this thing here is done. Then since the movement, let's say for example, is we still have a movement left, is not finished, then again when I go to click on the tile map once again, and I go to this point because still have movement left, then I have to make sure that I move only the card that has been selected, because if I go around between clicking my card and moving the first time, and then I go to check other enemies or other cards that are mine, I'm going to mess up the values of the target X and target Y and so on. So that's why I want to make sure that the selector is still related to the card I'm going to touch. I'm going to move, because otherwise when I click with the selector around, I'm going to make a mess, change the values. And that's why all this block here. So at this point, we go up here, line 31, where we are basically, when we click on the mouse on the card, if the card is overlapping the time map, if the card is the turn card, we need to add a new sub event for this one. And then on this sub event, we put a new condition, selector, compare instance variable, card number equals to -1. And then at this point, we move this to down here, always duplicated, but for me, just to show you what I'm doing. And that's why I'm doing this. So basically, if with the selector I click on the card that is a new card because it's new turn, then yes, change the values of the tile X and tile Y. But otherwise, if I'm looking for other cards, I don't want that this selector get messed up, because if I click on any card, the selector will get normally these coordinates here. That's why all this double check we make in here and under here. So to make sure that we're going to work only on the card that really need to act. Then in this line 33, where we have the usual click on the tile map, we need to create a new sub event. Just close this to make it easy to see and drag it up. Now we are going to put here a condition that says if card compare instance variable card number equals to selector dot card underscore number, then selector set position to another object card. So we make sure that is always selector stays always on our card that is related to the selector, to the values that the selector has. So therefore, if the selector has a values in the card underscore number instance variable, then is matching with this card and will go on top of the card. If it's -1, there is no card with values -1, and therefore it's not going to set the position of the selector because there will be the first time. Then in pass turn, we need to add one last thing, and that is set the movement card, set values of movement left to card underscore movement max. And this is because otherwise we can't just move the card again at the end of the turn. But I will disable just to let you see quickly. I will save first, and that's gone. So here, when I put my cards in the field, let's see, movement 2 out of 2, I move again, movement 0, then it's turn of displayer, moves 0 and 0. Then again my turn, I should be able to move this card. I can't because the movement is 0. So that's why when we pass the turn, we want that all the cards reset their values to the max movement they had at the beginning of the game. Therefore we go back here and we enable this, and I will show you once again. Always get the wrong side. Okay. Now 1, 0, 1, 0. You turn. When I go to click on the card, see the value become 2 automatically. It's not updated this value automatically. Is not important for this tutorial, just to for now make it work. I'm not even sure if we want to keep in this way. Maybe when we pass the turn, all the values can be reset on the side of the screen. We see this is not really important. This is just a mechanic that you decide how to do it, but of course it's possible to update if you want this message as well. But you can see now the value become 2. It was 0. So that's why this is working fine for now. So take again, once again, the chance to say thank you very much to everyone that supports me on Patreon. And again, if you like the video, please click like, subscribe, and so on. But as usual, if you share this video around, you really give me big help. And I see you again next time for the next video, where we're going to try to fix, I think, the bug I showed at the beginning of the video. And we do something else new that will go towards the end of this game. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.